This is the 2008 MacBook Air. And that's crazy because this is almost 20 years old. I think it's 20, you can basically call it 19 years old now because it's the middle of 2026. This is still thin by today's standards. This is an incredibly thin laptop. It's wild. I got this on eBay for $50. I couldn't afford one back then. I barely got that iPhone, which that was expensive too. But these aren't like the Airs that they sell now. It was quite a bit slower than the rest of the computers they offered. It was the form factor. There was nothing this thin. Their regular MacBooks were still pretty chunky. Thin was a thing that a lot of people were looking for back then. I don't know why, but we just had thick hardware. Infamously, everybody's heard this. If you watch TV or have been alive in the last few decades, you've heard or saw the story where Steve Jobs comes out and pulls this out of a manila envelope. That was an epic visual that I know I'll never forget. You know, it's just one of those things that's part of your life that you remember. There's a few things that happened. It's just like part of who you are. It's like part of your teenage years or part of whatever. I wasn't a teenager. I was, that's a different video. Anyway, I was excited, still excited, 18 years later, to be able to pick up this guy here for $50. For as old as it is, though, it's in great shape. I wouldn't expect it to look this good. If I had had it, it wouldn't look this good. One of the things about this that I got a lot of criticism for, a USB port is actually thicker than the device itself. They didn't have really anywhere to put the port, so they engineered this little right there that has the headphone jack, and it's got I think a FireWire in it, and then one USB port. And that's it. That's all you had. It was quite controversial back then because every computer really still had CD-ROM. Some still had floppy disk in them. Apple, they were killing ports and drives, you know, way back when. And this was one that they killed, and people got just as mad as they did about the headphone jack. Apple turned out to be right. We didn't need it anymore. And then other companies started doing it, you know, because not only was it the right thing to do, but it also made things cheaper for them. Now, what can you do with this today? Because as far as like the way it looks, it's a little rounder than things are now. You know, it kind of looks like the time, but it's still really futuristic. For one of their thinnest laptops they've ever made, it has a wonderful keyboard on it. I was just using it, and it's better than even the keyboard that's on my current MacBook Pro or my Apple Magic keyboard. This thing has a really phenomenal keyboard on it. One of the things they advertise about it is that it has a full glass trackpad. That is a thick bezel. That was one of the ways you could tell things back then. I remember having a LCD screen, and it was 20 inches, and they said 4 inches of it was bezel. Let me turn this on, and we're gonna see what can we do today with it. Because back then, I mean, what would they do in 2008? We would visit our MySpace page. Where is MySpace now? Is it even a thing? I don't know. iTunes was a big thing. People were starting to get away from Napster. I think this was more towards like the LimeWire days, but a lot of people were transitioning to actually paying for their music because it was just becoming a hassle to try to get on and burn these CDs and stuff, especially when the price dropped to like 99 cents a song. And Steve Jobs was actually pretty freaking smart, man, because he talked all those guys into dropping the price for their songs down to like 99 cents. Since the iPod was so popular and it automatically worked with a Mac. They made it work with everything, but it worked well with a Mac. People would get on here and you'd have to sync your iPod, which took forever. Let's turn it on. I'm kind of surprised by how snappy it still is. And this one has the 80 gigabyte iPod hard drive. If you remember I think the iPod Classic had an 80 gigabyte drive in it. This has got the same one. It wasn't very fast. Some people complained about that. It's kind of like it is now. There's some people who are just hating and they don't see that it's the form factor that was the big deal, not the processing power. Another thing that surprised me is there was actually updates waiting for this. So Apple still has whatever updates. It was just security updates, I think, but it was still there. So I did update it, and it didn't do anything for it. You can't get on the internet or anything like that. But you can see it's still working pretty good. I've got this mouse here. This is how you would have had to plug something into the USB. It's just like that, and then that should make this work. It does. It works just fine. And you can move around just like a computer. For as old as this thing is, the screen actually looks pretty good. I think the screen was 720. In 2008, 720 was considered HD. I got on here, and if you go to like Firefox, you can't do anything. Let's see if it works. asked if I want to make it my default browser. It does show Google, but if you actually type in Google, oops, if you do it the right way, it doesn't matter what you type in, it's going to say that. My hand touched the trackpad. But if you just type in Google, it's going to say update your browser. There's nowhere you can go. I tried. Safari absolutely doesn't work. There's not much else you can do with it. We'll look at a couple of things first. There is the photo booth. It works just like the one now does, and I don't know if you can see how terrible that camera is. Just like this. You got to remember this was 2008, which it's been a while ago, but it hasn't been that long ago. They had YouTube back then, and people were recording YouTube videos. I don't know if Marquise Brownlee had started his channel yet, but it wasn't long before he did.
Of course, I got the Media Center remote with it. Quite a nice remote. So, fits into the little express card slot on the side of the laptop, which I'm recording this on right now. And
they had some tough video equipment restrictions to deal with. It really shows you how much videos in general have developed in the last 20 years. Like this camera here is putting out better video than you could get from a movie 20 years ago. Like as far as resolution goes, I can't say that the actual composition or anything's better, but the resolution is mind-blowing compared to what you had in 2008. It's nuts. Something like this would have cost, you couldn't buy it, but if you could, it would have cost $1 million. Photo booth works just like it does now. We'll take us a picture. You guys can see what that looks like up there. One thing I liked about OS 10 is that the animations just were, it was the first time I had ever seen animations other than on the iPhone. It was mind-blowing because Windows didn't have that. And I was a Windows baby. I grew up on Windows 95, 98, even 3.1. We had Windows 3.1. It was a lot different at first to understand, but I was just blown away. I don't know if this still has like the iLife stuff on it. I don't think it does. I don't see any of that stuff. You probably can download that, but you had iChat. They didn't have iMessage back then. You had iChat. One of the things I want to point out are the icons. You can see the way they are now, and they're all really clean and very uniform, definitely high definition. They look great. Let's look at the way they were in 2008. Man, it's really hard to deny how good they looked back then. It just seems like they put a lot of effort into the way they look. Like, let's look at the dashboard deal here. That little speedometer looks really cool. And the calculator and the calendar, those just look really nice. If you look at the App Store icon, it's got like a pencil and a ruler, and I guess that's a paintbrush or something, but it just looks really cool. And then the Finder, same thing. Look at the Finder now over here on the MacBook Pro. I mean, it looks cool, but definitely not that much was put into the design of it as this one. This one just looks elegant. If you look at the stamp here, the mail, it's an actual stamp. And then Safari is a compass. If you look at Safari now, it just doesn't have the detail on it that the old one does. Honestly, if I didn't know better, I would think that these on the MacBook Air were the new ones. Even the contacts look better. Here, the calendar looks a lot better. Firefox looks better. Preview. Look at preview there. And then look at preview here. It just doesn't even come close. So I'm not sure why they stopped putting so much effort into the icons. Also on the dock, you see how they sit on this little shelf and you can see the reflections and the reflections move and stuff. They just look really good. Unfortunately, the screen is older technology, and if anything, that's what makes them not look so good. But the actual design of the icons themselves just look amazing to me. Even the folders, look at this. You can see the application folder, the document folder has a little picture of a document kind of embossed on it, and the time machine, even settings, man, those gears look real compared to settings over here. I just wanted to bring that up of how good the icons and stuff looked from back then. iTunes, like if you click this, see how it bounces and you can see it hitting the dock. The animation here too is just amazing, the way it sucks it down into that icon when you go to minimize it. Now the new one does that too, even though I enjoy it more on the old one. I guess it's not much different. I still enjoy it more on the old one. You know, it's smoother on the new one, but that's again because of the screen. Anyway, also what I want to point out is how much alike the operating system is compared to how it is now. Look at the new one. You know that these two came from the same place. And even if you go back to the older one, even before they had the dock, they've always had the Apple there. They've always had this there. This is something that Windows has been struggling with ever since they got rid of the start menu back when they tried to turn their operating system into a tablet with Windows 8. And they've just never quite gotten the history back. Windows to me feels like a lost operating system. It's been looking for a place to be. And I wish that maybe with Windows 12 or something, they would just kind of go back to the start menu. Some things, man, don't need to change. I don't feel like. I think some things need to progress and some things need to stay the same so you have the bones of what it is you're selling. I still prefer the older icons. I definitely can understand why this is the newer one. With Windows, though, it's almost like a different operating system. Like I can't really see the connections between like Windows 7 and Windows 11. That's a whole different video. So here's something I didn't realize earlier. I said that this is at its last operating system. That's not true. What I didn't realize at first is that this can be upgraded more. For some reason, when I turned it on and it got an update, that was for security updates. And I said, well, that's probably it. What I forgot is that they didn't do over-the-air updates back then. They did for like security stuff, but not full OS updates. Those usually came on like CD or some other way. But apparently there is more. This thing can go up some more. And I didn't know it. So I was wrong when I said that it may be dead. I can't imagine that you can do anything modern on it, but we're going to update it since we're here. And we're going to see what it was like to update your Macintosh back then. The reason I have this one here, one thing is so we can compare the docks, but the other reason is because I'm going to need to download whatever I need to update that one from this one, because this one I can't update it from here because I don't have a browser that can really download anything. We are going to check out how PowerFox runs. Matter of fact, let's just do it now. PowerFox is actually pretty capable. You see, you get your search right there, just like you would with Google, and you can type in whatever you want to search. Oops, I forgot the E on Google. Having a hard time with Google today. When was Alphabet Inc. created? There is a quiz for you down in the comments. When was Alphabet Inc. created? Google was first, but then they organized like all of their things under Alphabet Inc. When did that happen? When did Google organize under Alphabet Inc.? This is how PowerFox works, and you can even watch YouTube videos on here. Keep in mind, this machine only has 2 gigabytes of RAM from 2008. It's DDR2. 2 gigabytes of RAM from 2008. It is extremely slow, but you can look at YouTube, and that's the home screen. That's the modern home screen from YouTube on PowerFox. You can see we got a warning that says unresponsive script. I'm gonna hit continue because it's just being slow because it's slow. It is working though. The speakers sound atrocious. This is a video on PowerFox and by somebody who's a lot more knowledgeable than I am, Action Retro, and I love this channel. I watch it all the time. I'm sure that you guys do too if you're even watching this. I really like this guy, though he seems like a real genuine gentleman. I would love to hopefully one day collaborate with him. I love old Mac stuff. We're going to try to update this OS though, and we're not going to do it using PowerFox because I don't feel like dealing with all the memory crashes and stuff. It does a great job, but it's still old and it takes a long time. But if you have an old MacBook Air or an old MacBook and you need to use it to look on the internet, PowerFox is probably your best bet. This machine here tops out at Mac OS X 10.7 Lion, and it's 10.7.5. You can see that this is 10.6.8, and then this will tell us all our hardware stuff about it. Let's go over here, and we're gonna download our install package. I'm not real sure where to download it from, but it's supposed to be on Mac's old site, OS X Lion installer. Here is the link right here. It looks like Apple support. So that's it. Download it. That's going pretty fast. This is a MacBook Pro M1 Max. It does Wi-Fi 6 is its top rated Wi-Fi speed. It's going fairly quick for a whole operating system. It's 4.72 gigabytes. All right, it's done. Since our Mac here doesn't have any USB-A slots, we've got this little dongle here that I have had around for a while. You can tell. We're going to plug that into it. Minimize this. There's our thumb drive right there. There's my picture from earlier. There's PowerFox. But we're also going to add this, this OS that we just downloaded. We're going to add that to it. Transfer that over there. It's going to take longer to transfer it than it did to download it. There we go. So we're limited by the USB-A or USB, I guess that's 2.0, maybe 3.0, probably 2.0 speeds. Feels like 2.0. If you're watching this, I will be adjusting and cutting some of this waiting time. So if it seems fast, keep in mind, it is not fast. This right here is taking a while. It also took a while for the old MacBook Air to load YouTube, but I'm positive that when I edit that I will cut those out just because it takes so long. It finished, so we need to eject this, put this in here. That's already on there, it's showing, entitled there. Open it and click it, see what happens. It says it's verifying, whatever that means. I guess it's checking to make sure I am who I say I am. None of this is fast. All right, so there it is. We've got our install package. Double click that, see what happens. This package will run a program to determine if the software can be installed. It says you'll be guided through the steps necessary to install the software. This will take 25.1 megabytes of space on your computer. Did I have a password? Looks like that was it. It says installation was successful. That's not the application folder. That's the App Store, dummy. I was supposed to go here. Install Lion right there. Continue. There it is. Now we got it. Agree. There we go. What the hell? It's not letting us do it. It says it may be corrupted. It's saying the software can't be verified. It may be corrupted or tampered with, and then it just cuts off. So what we have to do is tell it that it is not 2026. Tell it that it's 2009. First thing we need to do is turn off the internet. Then we need to go here and change the clock. What? An error occurred. What does that mean? Let's try it again. Nope, still saying it's not saying the same thing. It's saying an error occurred while preparing the installation. Try running this application again, which I did, and it's failing. Still not doing it. Still getting the error. So we've all been here. I tried and I tried. I tried several different things. I looked it up. I asked AI. AI kept giving me wrong answers. There were a whole bunch of different answers. One was change the date. That came up a lot. Change the date because the certificate's expired and that's why it won't update. We need to change the date in the computer to make it think it's a different day than 2026. One thing said change it to 2010. One said change it to 2015. So I probably went through 10 different dates before I realized this did not work. Then I finally stumbled across something saying that you need to install it from the USB drive, which meant a lot of copying. I needed to actually burn the disk image onto the USB drive so it looks like a disk, and then I have to install it from that drive. Because it's a 2008 MacBook, which means we're limited to USB 2.0 speeds. So this was not quick, and I'm not gonna make you suffer through every time that I tried, even though it probably was pretty funny towards the end if you could have seen my face. So I finally did get it to work, though. It felt like years and years before I did, but I eventually did. Let's take a look at what happened then.
2 hours later.
The computer is restarting. I feel like my mind's gonna be blown. Okay, I think we're there. What I understand, PowerFox is no longer the option. Now it wants me to register, which I don't want to register. I think it says email address if you have one. Well, we don't have one. You don't want to send your personal information, click continue. That's right, I don't. And then it shows a little animation here that shows how to scroll. What do we got? What's different? We still got these cool looking icons. We got a better looking Launchpad. It looks like we've got iCloud finally. We didn't have iCloud on here before. It doesn't feel slow by any means. My mind is blown because I didn't think that it would go up any higher. I'd forgotten all about a lot of this stuff, about what you had to do, and really had forgotten that you couldn't do over-the-air software updates. Yep, so look, there's some more over-the-air updates that are ready right here. So we will download those, which they will download a lot faster than it takes to install them. Looks like we're back drinking Red Bulls at 12:30 in the morning.
Shazam!
I doubt we can get online. Nope, still can't open the page. iTunes looks like Apple Music now, which is kind of funny. I don't remember it looking like that before. Let's see if this works. Update your browser. I'm sure glad we have new computers and not old ones anymore. I love the old ones, but they're very slow. So this shouldn't take much. So here we are. Now we're going to put this in here. Again. Let's open it and see what happens. That's interesting. It says it would like to use our current location. Okay. Hey, there's something. Look at that. Sign into your stuff. I don't think I want to sign in right now. Let's just see what we can do. These things look cool. Well, let's go here. Let's see what YouTube looks like now. It's supposed to be better on here than it was on PowerFox. I don't know how usable this makes this. I don't know if you could set this as your default browser or what, but this is going to be the best you can get out of one of these MacBooks. Let's see if our buddy at Action Retro has anything to say about Chromium. It may be too new for him. Tell you what, this sure is slow. Fans are heating up. So we've got Thorium OS is way better than Chrome OS. Installing Linux may be too new. Let's put it up here. And it's actually called Chromium Legacy, which I forgot the legacy part earlier. This isn't doing terrible. I was hoping I'd see one of my people I like to watch. I like watching our buddy at Action Retro, and I like watching the Mac Librarian, but they both do stuff that's kind of old compared to this, which this is old as hell too, but really we're just seeing how good this works. Right now it's not working much better than PowerFox does. Yeah, it's working a little bit better.
A 12-year-old Apple laptop look like when this was brand new.
So we can get a full screen out of it.
That really says a lot about what has changed fundamentally in the world of computers. So today,
Well, that's better than PowerFox because I couldn't even get it to do that. Man, I don't know about y'all, but I am sick of these stupid Base 44 ads. Am I like the only person seeing that shit every 5 seconds? That dude's got a funny looking head. Not that I've got any kind of monopoly on good looking heads. You can see we got some glitching a little bit. I'm gonna make it little again. I'm probably killing the shit out of that memory. It actually doesn't do too bad like this. Full screen isn't that great though. I had one, it was a 2012, and I honestly didn't stop using it until 2019. It was badass. I don't think he's talking about Chromium here. Chromium's okay. I mean, this thing is not gonna act like this one, no matter what we do to it. It's just an old, slow MacBook. But it couldn't even do this a little bit ago, so that's something to think about. I don't know why anybody would want to do this or why they want to use this, but maybe if you're just looking to get online, you already have one of these and you're trying to save yourself $5 or $10 or whatever a cheap Android tablet cost, then this could be an option, I guess. But it's just something I'm doing to see if I could do it, because that's sometimes why I like doing stuff. This is definitely eating up some RAM. I can tell by the way the dock is responding. Because really before, until I had this Chromium open, it was pretty snappy, just like, you know, the animation and stuff. Chromium does work slightly better than PowerFox. The 2008 MacBook Pro, what'd you think? It was crazy when it came out, it was stupid expensive, and it was a work of art. I set out today to try to see if I could get it working, and the answer was kind of, sort of, maybe. It does kind of work, but not on anything native. None of the native browsers work on it because all the certificates are expired. I've updated it as far as it can go. The only way you can get it to work is to download an aftermarket browser like Chromium or PowerFox, and both of those kind of have lackluster results. It's amazing that they can get it to work at all, but when they do, it is still pretty slow. If you were stuck somewhere in a pinch, you could definitely fire off an email or get some kind of help through that computer. I'm not really sure what situation you'd be in where that computer would be your only hope, but if it was, you could kind of use it. So for whatever that's worth. If you know of any other ways that we could try to use this thing for anything modern day, let me know. I can't think of anything though, and I've got way better machines that I'd way rather use. One thing I did like a lot about this video was revisiting 2008. The music back then was amazing. The time back then was amazing too. The cell phones from that time period were crazy. After the iPhone came out, it started an avalanche of Android and Apple phones that just had one feature after the other each time they dropped, and that was amazing. Everything was just coming for the first time. It was just a really crazy time. I'm super nostalgic for it, and I really miss it. We also were a lot nicer to each other, I think. I feel like we were. I mean, we've always been pretty dickish to each other. It just really feels like in 2026, it seems like it's turned up to like a million. What did you think about it? Did you get the MacBook Air back when it came out, when it launched for that crazy price? What did you think of it? A lot of people thought it was ridiculous. I kind of thought it was ridiculous too. Looking back on it, I definitely see how it played a very pivotal role in Apple's progression to where they are now. I know this, I won't be trading in my M1 MacBook Pro anytime soon for a 2008 MacBook Air. If you like this video, do me a favor, hit the like button. If you like this kind of content and you want to subscribe, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to ring the notification bell. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Delilah, what's it like in New York City? I'm 1,000 miles away, but girl, tonight you look so pretty, yes you do.